Top of the league, we're top of the league. Something, we're top of the league. Wolves might be bottom, but Liverpool did make hard work of this. But I want to talk a little bit about the thing that is frustrating me most right now, which is the analysis of Liverpool online and even on television under the likes of Gary Neville. I love Gary Neville, I think he's a great pundit, but I don't think we got much insight from him today on Sky Sports. And actually, I think a lot of people are misanalyzing Liverpool games as, oh, well, that team was in it for ages and Liverpool let them back into it, blah, blah, blah. To an extent, I can agree with that narrative. But the more that I watch Liverpool, the more that I watch Slot, the more that I realise his team feel comfortable in certain orientations, in certain modes that frustrate the opposition. And he loves to frustrate the opposition. Teams are getting very frustrated. Milan were frustrated. Bournemouth were frustrated. West Ham were frustrated. Wolves were getting frustrated at the end. To the point where they play silly passes, Liverpool pick up and counter-attack on them. The control that Liverpool have really strangles the opposition quite a lot and makes them really unpleasant to play. Pep knows this. He commented on this when Arne first came into the league. Arteta knows this. Other managers know this. And Nuno knew this and Nuno'd us. And to an extent, I was worried that Wolves would do the same. Gary O'Neill's a very perceptive manager. He knows that if they sit deep and break on Liverpool in specific ways, he knew the areas to get the ball into, out wide and then coming back inside. He knew that our fullbacks would be forward. He knew they hate to be pinned back. He knew exactly where to press. He knew the places to put pressure on Liverpool. And Liverpool will have known that Wolves would do that. Arne Slot is very good at briefing his players. But I feel like it's not quite filtered through to the fan base. Not the fans that go to the game. I think those guys are very perceptive. But the wider fan base online who seem very frustrated. And also by the media. I thought the analysis was woeful of Liverpool today, and I think it's been woeful for a couple of games now. They were speaking about West Ham. West Ham were always in the game against Liverpool. I never really felt that game watching them as a Liverpool fan. Maybe I'm deluded in some fashion. Maybe I'm one of the people who needs to look at how I analyse Liverpool. But the control that this midfield exerts, the control that front line that Liverpool gives them when they go out wide, when they manage to get the ball in these tricky places, and it's difficult you'll always be going back and forth against Liverpool because you think you're committed and suddenly you're sprinting back down the field trying to catch up with Mo Salah or whoever it is. Liverpool players are given license to just roam forward. Trent has been given license to read the game as he sees fit, and players are going to fit in around him. But overall, that midfield is always trying to do a job where they're stretching the opposition and they're pressing and trying to get into them. And I think that's a big thing as to, let's talk about Liverpool now bringing them up. I thought Wolves were okay to, I'll comment on Wolves later. You want to hear about Liverpool, right? I think Liverpool's midfield, there's been a lot of comments on them more recently about, I don't think McAllister's touch has been good. I don't think Szoboszlai's doing what he needs to. Grav looks good again. I don't know where people got that in this game. I think he's been good, but I don't think he was exceptional today. I think he was certainly very level-headed. I think when he was on the ball, he passed the eye test, but I don't think we had overall control of that midfield. And I think, I'll be honest, I felt like McAllister was the better of the two double pivots today. But the point is, because of the shape of the midfield that we set up in, and because of where Slot puts his players, weirdly right now, it doesn't seem like they're looking to receive the ball in this sense, or also pass the ball into the areas that the other players are. They seem to be looking for passes into places that very often those players are not. And so I think it's down to partly the Liverpool shape and the way that they need to get more used to where those other players are going to be, but also it's the minor adjustments that Slot is making during game. It's the judgments that the players are making during game. And it makes it hard to get that cohesive play together when the opposition are pressing us just right and we're trying to play in a way that we're not used to playing in order to counteract that. Now that takes smart players. Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, the list goes on as to smart players in this Liverpool team, right? But what it also does, it gives the opposition a chance, and Slot is trusting his players to work out what is going out on the field and then apply some of his tactics and techniques and ideas to solve some of these problems. It's why he wanted Zubimendi. It's why he wants the players to understand more gut area, more intrinsically what it is he wants to achieve, rather than just a shape that we've seen at other teams that then the players kind of play within. It gives them a little bit more agency. It gives them a little bit more, I've got some investment in this. You saw it when Chiesa signed for the team. He spoke about the vision that Slot had for him and how he fit into that, how he felt he could expand that role out for Chiesa. You see it now. And I find it fascinating. Today when Szoboszlai went off, there was a lot of online, finally we took him off, we got rid. When Curtis Jones came on, I didn't think he did particularly a better chance. Obviously, he dived down that opportunity and, we were on the 2v1 for them, and that's great. I'm not criticising Curtis Jones for that, but I think it shows how hard it is to play that number 10 role for Liverpool, how hard it is to play alongside Jota, just behind Jota, with the front line constantly moving, very often the options that you have get taken away very quickly, or you're always in a supporting role to Salah, Diaz, or Jota. And so you've got to be very adaptable, read the game really well as to how well you will, like where you will be, right? How it is that you're going to set up. That must be very frustrating to play as a Szoboszlai or whoever it is that's playing in that 10 role, Szoboszlai or Curtis Jones. So it's frustrating because I feel like at the moment what we're doing is we're saying, oh, Liverpool should play like this because they've always played like this. Why aren't they playing like that? And so when they're not playing like that, and when the opposition do get themselves into good positions, the analysis seems to be, Wolves are better here. Wolves have been the better team than Liverpool. And I'm not disagreeing. I don't think Liverpool were great in that first 20, 25 minutes. But what I do think is that we're misanalyzing what Liverpool are trying to achieve. And so we are putting ourselves in a position where we're not supporting. As Liverpool fans, it's harder to support when you don't know what they're trying to achieve, but also what it is that we're looking for. But as analysts, we're mistelling the story of the game. Liverpool weren't really that great for the first 20 minutes, but I don't really feel like Wolves were all that good either. And if you look at it, the analysis of it goes, oh, well, Wolves are all over it. Yeah, they were at home. The fans were excited about what they were doing, but they didn't create anything so meaningful. A couple of half chances, headers up in the air, those kind of things. But outside of that, I didn't think it felt all that threatening. And Liverpool are top of the league for a reason. Slot is building this side up. We saw it against West Ham middle of the week, and we will see it again against Bologna. There will be small rotations within the team where Curtis Jones might come in, where Tsimikas might come in. I doubt we're going to start Bradley. Sorry, I got a bad cough. Ahead of Trent, because I think Trent is a great player, but I can see Trent getting a little bit frustrated out there. A couple of times where he's playing incredible balls and people just aren't managing to get on the end of them because there are other commitments within the side. This team is finding its balance right now. It's finding where it is. And when Gravenberch and McAllister are being pressed quite aggressively and that back line is being put under pressure, it's more difficult for this team to find that the rhythm, the trend of where it is they want to be. The frustration, of course, is we're playing Wolves, we're playing Forest, we're playing West Ham, Bournemouth. These are all sides that Liverpool, in inverted commas, if they have high aspirations, should be beating, because we should be beating some of these sides, because if we want to be in the top four, you've got to beat all these teams who are down the bottom of the league or in the bottom 10 of their league. We played AC Milan. I don't think AC Milan particularly stepped up. I think Wolves did step up and they played up in an almost FA Cup style against Liverpool, where it was like, oh, we've got something that can kickstart our season. But ultimately, when Liverpool scored the goal, Wolves sort of crumbled away after that. I don't think they offered all that much. In fact, it was Liverpool's mispassing and the lack of cohesion between Liverpool that allowed Wolves back into the game. And sure, if I was analysing Liverpool and the opposition did this, and we did this to the opposition, I'd go, well, it's down to the pressing. Yes, I think Wolves pressed very well today. I think better teams will press Liverpool better. But I also think that there is a holistic thing we need to look at here with Slot, where it's like, he trusts his teams to manage these games and to get themselves out of difficulty, to get themselves out of difficult situations. Wolves was a difficult situation today because home game, they're feeling stung. Lemina, I definitely think Lemina and João Gomez were definitely crunching into our tackles. Andre too. But we've frustrated teams now for a couple of games. Like I said, Milan, Bournemouth, Wolves. We've frustrated teams even before that. And the frustration that those teams are feeling is coming out in weird tackles. Andy Robertson had a tackle put on him late in the game where I was like, that should be a straight red for just scraping your studs down the back of his leg. Because players are getting frustrated about playing against Liverpool and going, we can't get near these guys right now, or these guys are always in the way when we want to get through. They want to play and we're not letting them. We are strangling them in a different way, and it's slightly the way that football is played right now. People criticising Arsenal the other day for the way that they played. They very much play like that. City tried to take away some of your biggest strengths through the way they play, but also through analysing the game beforehand and through putting people in certain positions. And it's working. And that's why people were worried about Slot coming into the league. They knew that Klopp played the odds, and they know that Slot plays an intense style of football. But I think what people think is because Slot plays intensity, therefore he plays the odds. I think he plays the odds in different ways. And I think actually he's slightly more conservative, in inverted commas, than Klopp. And I think you can see that there are going to be better managers who will work out Liverpool, and it's going to be a big, test, should we say, for Konate, Van Dijk, and Alisson, and also Trent and those guys. But today, I think they passed it generally. Apart from those moments where, there was the moment where it was like, Wolves scored that kind of weird, strange little goal that they scored. where Konate didn't quite know who was taking it. That, again, comes down to kind of understanding and who does what. Like, that's just basic communication. That's maybe something Slot should or maybe needs to work on. These kind of things are going to happen early on. And, you know, I don't put that down to Wolves breaking our system. I don't put that down to Wolves being 10 times better. I put that down to one piece of miscommunication and Konate feeling like he was fouled. It's that simple. Of course, the goal came at the end of the first half. Konate, again, coming to Liverpool's rescue. I think Konate was man of the match today. I think Gravenberch wasn't far behind that. I think Van Dijk had a good game, but I actually think the most informed centre-back that we have right now is actually Konate. I think Konate looks really good. I think he also looks really strong. I think he looks like he's really rising to the challenge. And I think he looks like a successor in terms of being a leader and someone who I enjoy watching and believe in. And he's really taken a step up since Klopp left at Liverpool in the long run. I think he's still backing up Robertson really well, and I think he's playing that role really well. And I think Ryan Gravenberch ahead of him is making him an even better player. He's given him really good passing options. He's giving him a passing lane to pass through if Salah's there as well, which obviously was always a pass for Konate anyway, but is changing a little bit under Slot. And I think Slot is making some of these players better, and we've not acknowledged it yet. We've not acknowledged that Gravenberch, Konate, Mo Salah, I personally think he's taken a bit of a dip post-international break, but I'm not willing to put that down to the international break. I think that's just been the position he's been asked to play and the facilitative nature of what it is he's been asked to do. I think Diaz and Salah both had slightly more frustrating games recently because the opposition had worked out that's where the emphasis is, and that's where Jota picks up. So there are going to be games where they mark Jota out of the game and the emphasis is on Salah and Diaz. But we saw today, when you put that emphasis on those guys, they can step up. When you put the emphasis on Jota, he can step up. Szoboszlai, I think, plays a great supporting role. I think Curtis Jones is still learning that. We didn't bring on Chiesa, I thought that was frustrating, but we did bring on Cody Gakpo, and I think Gakpo has massively stepped up in recent games, post-international break, weirdly, and I think he's learning what it is that Slot wants him to do. He takes up very deliberate positions, he takes up very confident areas of the field now, and you can tell the other Liverpool players step off him. They enjoy watching him, they enjoy being alongside him. Alisson, I think, without a beard, looks slightly weird, change that, but I think overall the midfield is doing what the midfield wants what they want him to do. We don't have as much possession as Slot would like. I think we could have more, and I think if we fix and tweak these small things, we're going to become a very controlling team. But I think we have a couple of weeks now where it goes Bologna, Crystal Palace, and then we're kind of into that glut of games post-international break, but we're going to get a couple more games where we can try and work things out, work out our shapes, and then we're into a really difficult November. And that's kind of what I wanted to finish on here, is these final few games are like the pre-season, if you will, or the preparation for the really testing November that Liverpool have. I'm not saying underestimate these guys, I'm not saying take them lightly, I'm saying it's going to take a little bit of time for this team to understand the way that the midfield moves the ball, the way the wingers will be, where the ball can go, those kind of things. Trent played a couple of balls through today and they just cut them out. Maybe in the bigger games he's a little bit more honed, a little bit more sharpened. We'll see. We've been really fortunate in a couple of games now. I think we've kind of gotten away with it. I think in a different way to the way that Gary Neville would say we got away with it for winning the game. I think, against West Ham, it was slightly generous, the scoreline. I think the Wolves game, we should have maybe been 3-1 up, and that probably would have killed the game off. I think we were lucky to concede and then get a penalty immediately after. I'm not 100% sure that was a penalty. Let me know in your mind in the comments below. But I think overall, we have dominated these games. That is frustrating people, and we need to learn to analyse Liverpool more accurately, because at the moment, I don't think the analysis is there. It's very frustrating, and to put my finger on it immediately after game, maybe it isn't there, but later in the week, I'm going to make a video about how Liverpool control games, and it doesn't always immediately seem obvious what it is that they're controlling with or where the opposition are. It feels almost a bit Alonso-esque. Alonso as a player was one of those players who he did really well with his shadow and stopped people's passing, and that frustrated the opposition, but it wasn't always something that felt immediately obvious or was shown in the stats. Liverpool today, if you look at the stats of the game, which I'm going to try and find for a sec, possession, 56-44, so pretty equal. Goals, we should have had 2.6, so round that up to 3. Big chances, 3. Total shots, 10. Their total shots were pretty underwhelming. Goalkeeper saves, 4. They did have some good saves, actually. I thought we should have spammed their goalkeeper a little bit more today. They had way more fouls. They had twice the amount of fouls as we did, and we had way more free kicks. I think referees at the moment are not giving opportunities against Liverpool because they know Liverpool are a good team and they know the opposition has to step up. I think there was a red card in the game today for Wolves. I think it was probably when that foot was raked down the back of Andy Robertson's leg. I got very adamantly and angry on the stream. Yeah, I was annoyed by that, should I put it that way. I think it was poor. Poor moment. And I can't believe it wasn't covered more deeply. I can't believe someone didn't flag it earlier. Anyway, they now go away to Bologna in midweek. I'll be interested to see how we play those guys. I personally, it's not frustrating not seeing us rotate, but it's kind of interesting to see where we would rotate. I wonder if Szoboszlai would come out for Curtis Jones in the next game. I think we may start Chiesa in the Champions League next. I think we may start Cody Gakpo. I think we may also start Nunez. Nunez was apparently sick today, but we'll see. And I think Liverpool are growing into this. The West Ham game was a big thing for proving that some of those fringe players understand the system, and games like this are for showing that we're not going to be taken for fools every week. And actually, we had a much higher XG than we produced in the end, probably because of that Szoboszlai chance. I think that's where, again, playing that supporting role, finding that movement, every now and again we get it right. Hopefully we get it right more often than not going forward. I know this feels a little bit like, we should be heaping praise on players. I didn't particularly feel there was a player that particularly deserved a lot of praise there, apart from Konate and Gravenberch. I think the rest of the players, maybe Jota did too. I don't think Alisson had to have an exceptional game. I don't think anyone else had to have an exceptional game. And they have really great fullbacks and wingers. And those guys challenged our guys today, and they put up a solid performance. They got a lot of crosses in that were just spammed crosses. They were not great opportunities for them. And I think people are going to count, they got a lot of crosses in. At home for Wolves, they're going to cheer the most basic of things. Those things, I'm not sure, always deserve credit. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Of course, there'll be more analysis in the coming days on this channel. I did a live stream today. Go and see the live stream. I'm not sure you can actually. I've taken down for the members. Let me know what you guys think. Get in the Patreon, get in the Discord, and I'll chat to you guys in a little while. Much love. Bye-bye.